It's time for the Steve and Kyle podcast with Kyle.
It's the quintessential shutting down the bar in Michigan song.
Well, I would argue Semisonic has a death grip on that with the closing
but this one is Semisonic from Michigan.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, is Gordon Lightfoot? Gordon Lightfoot's not from Michigan either.
Don't believe so. I believe he's just a man who cared about 28 souls and one butthole.
And Steve.
When you had texted saying, yeah, me and Katie are going to be leaving to head down there in a little bit, and I was like, oh, look at that. That must be nice to have someone who's interested in some way in the things that you do. Because as you remember, came up with it on the podcast. We went upstairs. I said to my wife, hey, we're going to be doing a karaoke night before the Live at Night show. You want to go? And she just laughed and she said, yeah, I'll pass.
Live on tape from APS 3 point whatever, it's the Steve and Kyle podcast.
I'd almost forgotten about that wound that was... Band-Aid was just ripped off.
How does that go after that? Like, when you get home that night, which was admittedly very late, I would argue that would be very late for people in their 20s, let alone a couple of people like you and I, Steve, in our late 20s.
Yeah.
Does the next morning roll around and no doubt you stumble out of bed, probably hit your toe on the corner of the bed, scratch both butt cheeks, ruffle your head of hair, wander downstairs to your wife and family who are probably knee deep in breakfast.
Yeah.
Does she say, hey, hun, how was Yoki?
I don't think she asked.
You just mean that morning?
Yeah. Yep, that's what I meant.
Well, listen, these events like this, a lot of times, maybe she's getting over the heartbreak of not being able to participate.
Yeah.
And she's just waiting for the right time to reopen that wound with you and ask you how it went.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you don't think there was a ton of regret.
I don't. I'm being honest. I don't know if it was even brought up. And if it was, at most, it was good time. Yeah. All right, we got a lot to do today.
Let me put it this way. If you send a text right now, again, more than a week later, and you just said, karaoke was fun, exclamation, would she ask you what karaoke and what are you talking about? Any of those iterations?
Nah. No. No.
Well, it's good to see your passion is rewarded with love.
So if you're listening, you may be wondering why everything sounds all weird, why this episode was not delivered 13 hours ago, 14 hours ago almost. Spoiler alert, it's going to be a quick one. We may be at the halfway point already. But yeah, we're doing this remotely. I've been sick for the last week or so. Finally on the mend. Finally back to the office tomorrow. I was I think one of the last people on the planet to get COVID. So that's been fun.
Yeah. And like any good father and spouse does, you promptly brought it home.
Yeah, well,
and shouted it out to the rest of your family.
You got look. I'm a sharing man, so I look. If I get something, it's not just for me; it's for the whole family. Yeah. So yeah, I noticed last Tuesday in the afternoon. I was like, man, my throat feels a little bit scratchy, but it was like we were in the middle of some amazingly beautiful weather. So I was thinking, all right, it's probably some allergies or something, but it just kind of felt like a little sinus thing. No big deal. Then I woke up Wednesday morning and I was like, ooh, boy, something's wrong.
Oh, no.
And I was in the shower and I had to make the decision of, well, do I barf in the shower or out of the shower?
So that was Wednesday morning?
This was Wednesday.
Before work?
Yeah, Wednesday morning I had gotten up and I was already feeling like, I was feeling rough, but I was like, all right, man, just hop in the shower, take a cold shower and you'll be good. And then I got out of the shower and I was like, nope, this is not happening. Little barf episode. And then, so I texted the show. I was like, hey, no. In the past, I may have still come in, but this ain't happening. And got everyone's full support. They said, see you later. And
nice.
That was pretty much my last memory of that day because I slept like the entire day. I know Annette
you didn't contribute to the side gig that day, like Wednesday at all?
In any way, no. Nothing whatsoever.
So, was it then Wednesday? You said you slept the day away.
Was the entire day.
Thursday, where you personally? So, would you say Wednesday was the worst? I guess that's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah, and to be honest, it was pretty great. I just slept the whole day. Like I think I ate 1 graham cracker the entire day and had like 3 sips of water. But yeah, and then I fell asleep. I mean, I fell asleep numerous times throughout the day because I would wake up for like 10 minutes here and there. I woke up once to go to the bathroom. And then I remember it was probably around 7 or 8 o'clock falling asleep again. And then I woke up at midnight.
Oh, boy.
And I was wide awake because I had slept.
Course, Steve,
I had slept for like, 18 hours straight or so. So I woke up and it was midnight and I was like, all right, come on, get back to sleep. But I felt pretty good at that point. Throat was still a little bit scratchy, but I was like, all right, I don't feel that bad at all. And
maybe it was the flu.
Yeah. I thought maybe I assumed it was just a 24-hour bug and tried my hardest to go back to sleep and it just didn't work. Did not fall back to sleep. So it was finally.
So what does Midnight Steve do? What does amnesiac Steve up at midnight roaming the halls? Because I would guess 10 years ago, if you were Bachelor Steve, at that point you'd be like, well, I might as well be productive. And you're either going to do work or my favorite idea, you're wandering into the garage in Crocs and underwear. And you're like, oh, fiddle around with the tailgate on the Comanche.
Wrenching on something. No, I just, because I was sleeping down in the basement because I had a fever at one point. Like I was really, really hot in the house. And since the weather was so nice, we had all the windows open upstairs and everything. So it was like, but it was too hot. So I was like, I just got to be down in the basement. So I was just down in the basement and I didn't do anything. I just laid there on the couch and I kept my eyes closed thinking like, all right, this is it. I'm going to fall back to sleep. And it just never happened. As much as I tried. Now, the bummer was Thursday, I was supposed to travel with the show to Northeast Pennsylvania. So at about 3 a.m., again, I had been awake for like 3 hours. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to get up. I didn't pack last night because I was asleep the whole day. So I was like, all right, I'll tiptoe upstairs and get my bag packed, make sure I'm ready to roll. And
so Ned is now sleeping like a normal person sleep schedule.
Yep.
And you decide to use your Fred Flintstone Twinkle Toes best to sneak into the bedroom and start opening drawers like, do you have your coal miner's helmet with a light on?
No,
or are you
I'm just
trying to shine your phone light.
No, I'm just using the phone light. And luckily, like I tiptoe into the room, and she was already awake because she was like, "What's going on? Are you okay? How do you feel?" And I was like, I actually feel okay. I was like, I'm gonna pack, and I'm gonna, I'm just gonna suck it up. It's gonna be a rough trip, but whatever. I gotta do it. It's no big deal. It's not like I'm, going off to war or anything. I'm hopping on a 3-hour flight and going to a hotel, and then I gotta wake up early tomorrow. It's not a problem at all.
The paycheck's still got to clear, dear.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
So Daddy's got to get on the nearest flight. And hit the skies.
So I do my speediest packing job ever, and then I come back downstairs, and I was like, all right, let me do this again. Hop in, take a shower, And just before I got in the shower, I was like, I know that we have a COVID test laying around here somewhere. Maybe I should just take that, just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
So I take
So what do we? So you, and apologies for interrupting.
Yeah, no,
I know our timing is going to be off. What time do you normally leave the house to go into the radio station?
I try to leave by latest 4:45 because that gets me there a couple minutes after 5, and then ready to go.
So you've been awake since midnight.
Yeah.
You've tried to go back to sleep route, didn't work.
Many times.
You decided to disrupt the harmony of the household by packing luggage.
Yep.
What time is Thursday morning? Shower, see COVID test, take COVID test. What time are we talking?
It's probably around 3:45, 4 a.m., somewhere around there.
Boy, so we are well past 200 minutes of 18-hour sleep, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Being awake for the day.
Yeah. I mean, I am wide awake. I mean, I should have come up with something to do because I would have been so productive. So I'm just about to step into the shower, and I was like, wait a minute, we got a COVID test in this drawer somewhere. Open up the drawer, do the thing, put the thing up my nostril, swish it around a couple times, put it in the other nostril, swish it around, dunk the little Q-tip into the vial, turn it into the little dropper, flip it over. It's like put 4 drops or 6 drops or whatever right on the little test pad. Well, I do that, and then I turn for a minute to do something, and then I look back, and it's immediate. I already see that the test line pink, like bright as anything. I was like, wow, that's not a good sign. Mm-hmm. So I went upstairs, and I said to Annette, I was like, hey, might have a slight change of plans. I just had a positive COVID test. And luckily, she was like, those tests are expired, like way expired. So
yeah,
we probably
you're thinking there's still a chance.
Yeah, she's like, I probably can't trust them. So sure enough, I go back downstairs. They expired in like September of last year. So I was like, oh, okay, no big deal. So then I thought, well, maybe I could stop somewhere on the way into work, pick one up, take a test before I get to work. And but then I remembered since COVID, nothing's open. Like there used to be the 24-hour grocery store. It doesn't open till 6 a.m. now. Pharmacies, they don't open till 6 a.m. now. So I sent a quick text to everyone on the show, and I said, hey, does anyone have a non-outdated COVID test that you could bring to the station? Greg gets back. He says, yep, I got one. I'm throwing it in my bag now. I said, cool. Just leave it on the counter right inside the doorway. I'll grab it. I'll take the test. I won't even come into the studio until I know for a fact that I'm good to go. So walk into the building. Test is sitting right there. I got a mask on and everything. I take it. I do the whole thing. Swab the nostrils. Blah blah blah. And then I put the little drops in there, and I just sat there in like a secluded corner of the building where no one ever goes.
Out of 10 at this point, you're standing in the corner. Your office building at 4:45 in the morning. Out of 10, how would you rate how you feel health-wise at this point?
I would say a 6.5, 7. Like I didn't feel great,
but still think there's something wrong, like sickness possible.
Yeah,
but
I was
hoping it's not COVID.
Yeah, I was convinced just based on the symptoms, the fact that I threw up. Like I don't know, everyone I know that had COVID, nobody ever talked about throwing up or anything like that. So. Yeah, so I'm sitting there looking at this test, and within 2 minutes, I see that bright, solid pink line. I was like, you gotta be effing kidding me. This thing's been around for 3 years. I've avoided it no problem, and now, like, out of nowhere I get it. So I gotta pop into the studio now, and I'm like, hey, guess I'm not traveling today. I have COVID, and they're like, okay. And then, yeah. So that started a very long day for me. So then I went out. I figured since I was there, I may as well be somewhat useful because if I have COVID, all of them want to make sure that they don't have COVID because they don't want to travel. Yeah. So I was like, well, I'll at least go out and buy tests for all of you guys, bring them back here so everyone can do one. Luckily, nobody else was positive. So they were able to travel. But yeah, so then I basically drove back here, worked from home the remainder of Thursday, worked from home Friday, and then worked from home yesterday and today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Bills are about to be paid then, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Lots and lots of money.
We gotta figure out what equipment you used and touched.
Sure.
And the going rate for that equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And then how many hours, obviously. And we work this thing is a law firm racket.
Oh,
we are rounded up to the hour, Steve.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what? I don't want to be pushy. I say we round up to the day.
I mean, look, 1 minute, you're getting billed for 1 hour. That's
absolutely.
But yeah, I like your idea, possibly a day. But anyway,
so
so I've been here in my house for basically the last week. I've left a couple of times to honestly just like air myself out because I was going pretty stir crazy in here. This stuff sucks, man. I feel bad for people who actually had this and it was like bad. This was
I was waiting because I figured this weekend would be the time on all your social media accounts and maybe the podcast account where you started posting like Jordan Peterson videos or like I don't know, just dig up like an old Jenny McCarthy one.
Yeah.
And for old time's sake.
Yeah.
And lob that out into the ether, but I didn't see anything.
No. I decided to, keep this quiet. I wanted us to have the exclusive announcement of my my health diagnosis. So you're welcome.
I want to there's a couple of questions I have, but I want to first play. I never thought we would play this one time, let alone 2 weeks in a row. And I'm going to allow you to rip cord however you feel necessary here.
Okay.
Because it's time to play another edition of my favorite game. Who can we blame?
I don't know. I mean, I would assume that I got it either at our karaoke night or the Live at Night show. I mean, those were they were 3 or 4 days before, and typically they say it takes a couple days for symptoms to present themselves. So, I mean,
that's a good point. I hadn't even considered karaoke night.
Yeah.
Well, you put that out there now, and gotta tell you, now it's on my mind.
I think at this point, if you haven't noticed any symptoms, you're probably all right.
Well, we are experiencing other issues. We're not going to get into my medical maladies today because, but yeah, that would make sense. The 2 nights where you were in personal contact with thousands of people, I'll let you figure out the split of thousands about which night was more.
Yeah, like standing in close proximity, just yelling at people.
Yeah, and then, hey, come up here at this microphone that someone just screamed a Limp Bizkit into 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, boy, that's it's weird how karaoke didn't get altered at all by the pandemic.
Yeah. I would argue it's an upset that COVID didn't kill karaoke, and I'll put that on the poll as well for the week.
Yeah.
I have a couple up there already.
Oh, good.
So I want to make sure you and the family are all on the mend and doing okay, because it seems like you guys were really in the midst of it or suffering the brunt of it this weekend.
Yeah, I think we kind of lucked out in that it hit us in waves and not all at once, because like Wednesday I was saying I was completely useless. I was asleep most of the day, and then I think it was by Friday, maybe Saturday, Annette was feeling pretty rough. So, but by that point I was feeling better, so it made things a little bit easier. And then Evelyn was rough for a day or so, day and a half maybe. Nikki's just kind of not been great for the last 2 days or so, 2.5 days maybe. But he's I mean, at this point everyone's pretty much on the mend. Things are looking up, and I'm looking forward to getting out of the house tomorrow.
Yeah, it was, if I recall, the worst part when we also had the family COVID share around was when Reed had it for a day, like really bad, right? And this was back during 10-day quarantine and whatever. Yeah. So he had it really bad, and much like the youth is known to do, bounced back almost immediately.
Right, yeah, no issues.
While Katie and I were suffering at our height of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So to deal with a 3-year-old sprinting around the house like a foam sword, just beating the heck out of you and jumping up and down while you just want to go die.
Yeah.
That's quite a course to deal with illness.
I'll tell you what, though. You know what? A lot of people don't talk about the positives. I lost 11 pounds in 2 days.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, it was quick to come back on after those 2 days.
Oh, sure.
But for a couple days, I was like, yeah, you're looking good, man. Nice job.
Now that you mention it, Steve, I'm glad you brought that up because it's so easy to look back at the downside of me nearly dying and having 12 days in the hospital with an open heart surgery.
Oh,
but
right.
I came home.
The boo-boo. Yeah.
I came home down 35 pounds.
Jeez. Can't beat that.
So I think, are we on to something here?
Yeah. I mean,
go fish that little disease stick that said positive out of the trash. And we'll go around rubbing that on people's noses, on their lips.
Yeah.
And we'll say, okay, in 48 hours, you're going to, we'll call it the toxin flush 2023. And then in 48 hours, they'll weigh themselves when they, inevitably have to hold themselves up by handicap accessible bars in a public restroom to weigh themselves.
Yeah.
And we're going to guarantee you, Steve, baseline, guaranteed down 10 pounds in 72 hours.
See, I don't think that we do a guaranteed pound. I think we do a guaranteed percentage, like percentage body weight. Because if you're pushing if you're pushing 4 bills, you're going to lose a lot more,
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, leave it to us, right? To market the pandemic.
Yeah.
Probably 2.5 years after its peak.
Well, we've talked at great length about how this pandemic has just been fantastic for you.
Rip roaring good over here.
I mean, you bought 2 houses or something, couple cars,
we bought a vacation home, 2 new cars,
the chopper.
We have so many items around here that a lot of people would say are necessary, and that I would say, sorry for your luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I am glad to hear you're on the mend. You're back to work tomorrow.
Feeling good. Feeling good.
I was fully prepared to come in next week with an absolute tirade of you being the one to break the newest streak of recorded episodes.
Yeah, I mean, the streak
because obviously that's what this is. It's very vindictive now.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's not, the streak is broken. It's whose fault is it? I mean, who can we blame?
And I'm currently on the list. I'm 1A on that list from the Heart Boo Boo.
Oh yeah,
back in 2021.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
so I need to switch that, almost like in basketball when there's a tie up, when 2 players have possession of the ball, the refs just blow the whistle and they say the possession arrow is on team B. They get the ball.
Yeah,
it's not that's what this would be. I need a tie up in the lane to flip that possession arrow to Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough because we went, 250 some episodes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we went a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Man.
Why were we so motivated?
What happened?
Yeah. Like,
we could.
There's literally zero gain from this podcast. Why were we so benefited?
I mean, literally,
why were we so committed for so long?
We've talked about the opposite of gain being the product of this podcast.
Yeah.
Meaning financial ruin.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Both of us, to different degrees, thousands of dollars in the red based on studio renovations.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting in a room that has never made me a dime, but cost thousands of dollars to construct.
Yeah. Well,
and this is the second one that I've built.
We just need to up the memorabilia wall. So that way, when we inevitably disintegrate as a pair, as a podcast pair, we divvy up the financial overload that's on those walls and shelves.
Yeah.
And we make a profit finally.
Right.
I'm looking at the Pod Coney. I'm looking at the die-cast United States Postal Service car. Thank you so much, End of the Driveway Warriors.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at that signed Cliffy. And that is how we finally turn this thing around.
Oh, the Town Drunk softball jersey?
Of course. Obviously framed by the Town Drunk upside down.
But
just remarkable.
We digress.
I
don't even know.
I don't
even know where we're at time wise. I know that with Zoom, I only have a certain amount of time, but on the phone app,
it is. It's a 9:03 on a Monday or Tuesday. My goodness.
Yeah, PM.
So PM. Yeah.
Episode was supposed to be released at 7:00 this morning. Here we are. I'll be impressed if anyone downloads this tonight. I don't think there's any chance of that, but I think we have a little bit of business to get to, and then we got to get out of here because
that's right, Steve.
I'm up against the bedtime.
Value. We have to add value to that wall, Steve.
Yeah,
and by adding value, I mean we need to finally declare the third ever Pole Badness champion.
Here we go.
Boy, oh boy.
If you want to be the best, you got to be a fighter. If you want to be the best, you got to show desire. If you want to be the best, you got to be a fighter.
Another long, winding Pole Badness bracket has finally come to its end, Steve.
Yeah. How's it sound coming down the line, though, Fighter's Desire? Does it hit a little bit different when you're not here in the studio?
Yeah, it might hit a little different. I couldn't hear it. I was just going based off your head pops.
Cool. All right.
Cinderella stories abound. We had a little bit of chalk, a number 1 seed, make the foolish 4.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of head-scratching results. I think you and I would both agree.
Yeah, quite a few.
In terms of quality, it seems like there may have been some axes to grind in terms of the voting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And with that being said, it is time to declare the winner. And we will get to that next week.
I don't think that we can do that to our adoring fans who have just waited.
The final matchup, Steve, the number
weeks.
6 seed. Number 6 seed is Kyle, just a bag of used parts, coming in on an absolute locomotive of demolition.
Really?
Just demolished every opponent before it. There wasn't a close 67% to 33% was its closest victory in the Foolish 4. Heads into the Tiresome 2 as a number 6 seed to take on an unexpected participant.
Yeah.
Should Steve make the union workers refer to him as Big Bacon Steve or Papa Benjamin?
Papa Benjamin's. Yeah.
I don't even remember that was. Could you give me a little context on that? Do you remember at all the context on that one?
No. I zero memory of that.
I mean, is Kyle just a bag of used parts? Could have come literally whenever.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
like talking about any one of your ailments.
That's right. So the Tiresome 2, the number 6 seed is Kyle, just a bag of used parts, taking on the number 4 seed.
By the way, I just got a pop-up notification that we have 10 minutes remaining on our...
Perfect. You know what? We won't even need half of it. Should Steve making the union workers refer to him as Big Bacon Steve or Papa Benjamin's? And with 91% of the vote...
no. 91.
Your 2023 Pole Badness champion, soon to be adorned on one of those beautiful plaques that are sitting behind your head right now, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Is Kyle just a bag of used parts? And I have to tell you.
Hey, congratulations, champ.
This felt real extra grind. Real personal.
Oh, boy. This is beautiful. This is fantastic. Fantastic. Congratulations to the team. Would you like to give a speech?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
To hell with each and every one of you. I'll never forgive you. And I take this personally, much in the same vein as Michael Jordan. Speaking of COVID, Steve, a blast back in time, The Last Dance was a couple of years ago during the height of COVID, and the meme of Michael Jordan staring at a tablet of highlights or video.
Yep.
Saying, and I took that personally.
Mm-hmm.
Just to let everybody know, that's me right now, all the way up to the bald head.
So the bald head is actually a Michael Jordan tribute, is what you're saying?
Yeah. That's listen, I've been saying it for years. He's the greatest of all time. I'm just happy to honor him here today with my 1, athletic prowess, and 2, my bald head.
Yeah, I'm sure he would be
And 3,
thrilled if you regaled him with the story of, was it your brother that punched you in the nose in the outfield or something and broke your nose?
Robert's big dumb elbow at a softball practice caught me again off the pitcher's mound after I called him off for a fly ball. That was the first instance on a softball field that ruined my summer, and then followed up years later by the devastating athletic maneuver of me leaping over. No, Steve, you forget. I was leaping over a couple of monkeys who were rolling around on the field, and I just had to get out of the way.
Sure, yeah.
And so they were fighting, as monkeys do,
mm-hmm.
and arguing about their softball careers.
Yep.
And I simply leapt over them, and on landing, must have caught one of them the wrong way, as you remember so vividly.
Yeah.
And twisted that ankle and twisted that Achilles right out of its slot.
What's the ERA for that season?
That one, the 2017 season, I finished with a record of 0-1 and an ERA of infinity.
Just 3 pitches thrown that year.
A lot of people are saying, though.
You really left us out to dry. We had no idea what to do. We had no idea who was going to take the mound. I didn't even know the names of any of my teammates at that point.
Yeah.
I think
we are a week away today from the 6-year anniversary of that event.
How are we going to celebrate?
Maybe I'll try to hop on one leg 3 football fields down a paved path again. So anyway, to wrap up, I'm Michael Jordan, and to hell with everybody who voted in this Bowl Badness tournament.
All right. Well, with that being said, another season comes to a close.
Happy to do it. Happy to see the end. Happy to see the conclusion. Maybe we need to take a little more inclusive look on the decision down in the Planning Pagoda next year. A number 6 and a number 4 seed this year. My goodness.
Boy, I look forward to seeing the newest trophy, hopefully. If Zach is still listening. Haven't heard from him in a while.
I think we lost Zach.
I don't know. Zach, if you're still out there, I know that you don't do the social media thing anymore, but get in touch somehow. Let us know.
Somewhere we have his phone number. Yeah. And we should reach out to him.
Yeah, we need bare minimum, we at least need the template for the trophy so we can get a matching one.
Right.
It would just be embarrassing.
Hey, apologies for this short episode, everybody.
No apologies whatsoever. No apologies whatsoever from my standpoint. I don't get paid for this.
Yet I'm losing the poll tournament. I'm losing this, and I'm the one apologizing.
All right. At Steve & Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Back with a hopefully normal episode next week. That is the plan, at least. Yes. Talk to you then. See ya.
See ya.